Hey guys, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to be updated every time I make a new video. Thanks, let's begin. Was the first time the charm? Let's find out. Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D. The novelization by Michael Avallone.
Friday the 13th, Part 3, in 3D.
Originally, I was just going to combine Simon Hawke's and Michael Avallone's versions of Friday the 13th, Part 3 into one video. But I was like, you know what? I got a lot to say here, so I'll just make it two separate videos. The plot. He moves like an ominous shadow. After dispatching a couple of people who ran a general store down the road from Higgins Haven, Jason Voorhees makes his way to Higgins Haven. It just so happens at the same time, Higgins' daughter and her friends are heading out there to have a vacation. His bloodlust will continue and all shall feel his wrath. This review will contain spoilers. There's no other way around it. I want to touch upon the alternate ending, and to do that, spoilers. For starters, Avallone must have gotten a much earlier draft of the script. A lot of the characters are given different characteristics. Chris Higgins is blonde, Vera might give Shelley a chance, and all the bikers are black. That's racist. And unlike in the movie and Hawk's version where Loco was white.
Get off that!
But those are just minor changes. Before we get into the rest, I want to touch on Avallone and his writing style. He's a good writer, but his words don't pop off the pages like Hawks' versions of these movies' novelizations did. Metaphorically, that is. I want to make that clear because this novelization's in 3D. Avallone seemed much less interested in writing this novelization. The characters don't feel like characters, they feel like cardboard cutouts of people.
How do we do it?
Well, first we take our clothes off, and then you get on top of me, or I could get on top of you.
Everyone still has their traits, but I didn't care about them whatsoever. In the Hawk series, I did.
I think you've gained some weight since last summer.
Things do make a bit more sense in certain scenes, like where Chili's body is the one that falls down in front of Chris right before the climax. Hence why Jason carried her out of the cabin. Other things that make little sense is like when Avallone has a body count. Like he literally keeps track of every death. If someone dies or is still alive, he'll tell you. He treats the reader like they have short-term memory loss. He was not taking this book seriously. Not that you have to for a Friday the 13th story, but still.
Heavy shit.
For the characters, we have Chris Higgins, who has a dark past with a maniac who attacked her in the very woods she now is residing in. It is revealed that Jason was the attacker, but she doesn't know who Jason is. All she knows is that he attacked her once. This rings true in all versions of the story. Rick, called Derek here, is the macho farm boy of the story. He seems to be a bit too intense for the fragile Chris. He tries to understand, but can be a bit testy. Debbie is delegated to Thought Candy. She isn't described as being one of Chris's oldest best friends, but she's rather the bimbo who has Andy, the meathead, for a boyfriend. The bumbling buffoon who walks on his hands.
Want a beer or not?
Chuck and Chili have barely any page presence, let alone chemistry. Chili even thinks that she should have broken up with Chuck a while ago at one point. They're just stoners. Vera and Shelley are the two I liked the most here. After the run-in with the motorcycle gang, Vera sees Shelley in a whole new light. She doesn't even say, "I don't think so," when he asks if she wants to hook up. Instead, she just says, "We'll talk." Twice.
And we'll talk.
Allie, Loco, and Fox are the bikers. Allie is the leader and the biggest of the gang. Loco is also black, but it's kind of just like a less buff version of Ali. And Fox is curious about the farm and the makeshift rope swing, but still.
Is this your rubber?
I didn't care. Abel is another character here who has a couple more scenes than in the Hawk version or the movie version. He has his introduction where he almost gets hit by the van, which is red in this book and not lime green like in the movie. And then he has another scene where Chris and Derek are walking back to the cabin, and he runs into them, spouting his gospel. And then he comes up later in the story as a doctor figure. Chris sees him as a doctor, a lookalike, as he looks just like Abel. He has to be the doctor. But it makes no sense. So,
I have warned thee!
let's get into the alternate ending, which still makes no sense. First off, it stops right before Chris can even leave the barn. She decapitates Jason, and then wakes up back in the cabin or in a hospital. It's not quite made clear. Anyway, she's questioned by the doctor, the chief of police, and is guarded by a deputy. But then she sneaks out after the deputy falls asleep, who was supposed to be watching her, and she makes her way back to the cabin. She finds the bodies of all her friends in the biker gang, and Jason decapitates her. Then the deputy checks in on her. She's still there, asleep, smiling. What the hell? I'm glad that they changed the ending despite what little sense either version makes. I do like the idea of Chris being institutionalized, because she was clearly losing it by the time the cops found her. Here, I can see why they changed the alternate ending, because it's way too jumpy, and it makes even less sense. I am not a fan of the rest of the ideas either. Decapitating Jason and making it seem like it was all on Chris's head are total cheats to the audience and would have stopped further sequels. It's right alongside a lack of Jason and Jason Goes to Hell as a cheat to the audience. Something I wanted to fit in here, and I couldn't find anywhere else to put it, was that Jason laughs at his kills later on. After Chuck is killed, he's laughing up a storm.
That's better.
That's so out of character. Jolly Jason is not something I would picture for the macabre maniac that we got in the movies and books, because that's just not him. For the gore, it's all the same as the Hawk and movie version besides the 2 decapitations at the end. Again, I did not care for the characters in this book. Their lack of chemistry and lightheartedness really made it hard to sympathize with them. When they died, I felt nothing. Overall, Avalon is a good writer, but he doesn't seem to have his heart in this project. He made it his own, which is something commendable, but it destroys some of the stuff that we come to know and love about Jason Voorhees and the Friday the 13th series in general. A la Jason laughing and that ridiculous ending.
Did I do something wrong?
It's still an interesting read and gives you some new stuff to read about in this long-running franchise. I personally would just pick up a Hawk version over this version of any day of the week. That's going to do it for this video, guys. I am your host, Brian Gatto. Make sure to like, comment on, as well as share this video. Like my Facebook fan page. Also, hit that notification bell to be notified every time I make a new video. And as always, subscribe.